My name is Katherine Dames. I am the Managing Director for Workforce Development at BlueForge Alliance. And I am here with a good partner of ours, Mr. Shawn Avery, who is the President and CEO of the Hampton Roads Workforce Council. Thanks for joining me, Shawn.
Thanks for having me here today.
Would you do us a favor and tell us a little bit about what your organization is doing in terms of workforce development? You could talk about the ecosystem as a whole of what you're doing, but really focusing on workforce development.
Yeah, so the Hampton Roads Workforce Council is the regional organization in southeastern Virginia that's responsible for making sure that we have the talent in the region to be successful. And so what we're doing really right now is working around the maritime industry. And what bigger piece of the maritime industry is the submarine industrial base, the shipbuilding, ship repair industry, which is huge in our region. And so we've been really focused on industry sector needs. So working with our employers to identify what those needs are, and then working with our educational partners to put solutions in place. And that's really led us down this path to be able to partner with BlueForge and the submarine industrial base to start to figure out how we can get our educational partners to be focused on what the skills are that are needed, make sure that we're working on the opportunities that are the largest in our region. So we've identified what skill sets we're missing in our region and what educational programs are not there to meet those needs. And now we're really filling those gaps. And so it's been great to do.
What are you seeing as those big needs in terms of skill sets for the region?
Yeah, so it's really in the skilled trades, as you can imagine. Welding is a big one, electrical, anything around CNC machining, anything around the ship fitting, the pipe fitting, anything that's needed to really put the ships and the subs together. The interesting thing in Hampton Roads is we have just got an abundance of that industry in our region. So we have a number of yards. We have Newport News Shipbuilding, one of the largest submarine industrial bases and the aircraft carriers in the world in our region. But we also have a lot of ship repair yards in our region. And we also have a burgeoning offshore wind industry. And so they're all fighting for those same skill sets that are very much the same. And so we're trying to raise all of the region and just to meet those needs. And so that's really taking investments in our educational system.
Tell me about how you at the Workforce Council are addressing kind of diversity in this kind of maritime space that you're describing.
Sure, that's a great question. So what we've done is we've set up something called the Regional Maritime Training System in our region, and one of the focuses is on diversification of the industry and the individuals going into that. So two things we've been able to do that we are doing is we've got something called Women in Skill Careers in our portfolio of programs that we run as part of this regional maritime training system, and it's around getting women interested in the skilled trades. I'm sure you've heard this one before. Women make the best welders. They just have the precision, they can do it, and our employers love them. And so what we're able to do with this program is we're getting them in there, we're providing them the training that they need, but on the flip side, we're also providing the support mechanisms they need, the child care, the transportation, the housing type allowances. We're working with them to identify any barriers that they may have and help alleviate those barriers. So it's funded through the U.S. Department of Labor. We're on our second round of those funds, and we're looking to continue that program for the here in the future. So that's one way. The other way is we've hired recruiters that are based in the neighborhoods that we represent, that are maybe underrepresented in the industry, that from diverse populations that just may not have known about these opportunities. They may not have the resources to get involved in those opportunities. They may not know about the training that they can go do or the funding that's available. And so what we've done is these recruiters that we've hired are actually from that neighborhood. So they're going in there, they're talking to the individuals, they're going to the churches, they're going to the places where the individuals are going. So parks and community centers and things like that. So it's really increasing the efforts of what we're doing in those opportunities.
So you mentioned a funding source that you have. I know that Navy has done quite a bit of investment in the region. Can you talk about how the Navy investment has helped, bolster the region, or even reach out to some additional, target demographics like your K-12 kiddos?
Yeah, great question. So the Navy has been one of the best partners we could have ever had. We've identified that there's a lot of gaps in our educational training system in Hampton Roads. When we first started this about 3 years ago, so much gaps that we would not be able to really fill those with our normal training funds, or even some of the funds coming to the community college. So with the Navy funds, we've been able to create new training programs at our K-12 system. Just recently, we opened up a new welding lab at Virginia Beach Public School, doubled the capacity. So now they're going to be able to produce 80 students per year in the welding industry. They had a waiting list before, so now we're going to be able to fill that. We're opening up 2 new training facilities next year, one with one of our community colleges in Newport News and the other one in Suffolk. It's going to be direct lines into this industry. And then we have other opportunities on the pipeline. And we would not have been able to do that without the money from the funding from the Submarine Industrial Base and the Navy. And the good thing of what we've done, we don't want it just to be Navy funding that's supporting that. We've been able to take those investments and blend them, and with other funding that we've been able to receive from the Department of Labor, the Department of Commerce, the Commonwealth of Virginia is investing in this as well, so that we don't want it all on the Navy's back. We want this to show that we're all in this together. We've got private sector contributions coming to it. So it's a no wrong door approach to this solution, in that if somebody comes into our door, we have many pots of money that we can utilize to help that individual get into the training in the submarine industrial base and the shipbuilding ship repair industry.
That's great. So you've referenced a number of partnerships that you have, in the region with community colleges, supply chain organizations. You've mentioned, blending of some funding, and so I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation that you're a strong partner with us at BlueForge. Can you talk a little bit about how you think that we, BlueForge, Hampton Roads Workforce Council, the Navy, and others can work together on a challenge that you're continuing to have, and where you think we might take this in the future?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, we're doing a lot in our region, and we're focused on our own issues, working with our educational partners and our employers. But what the good thing about BlueForge is you're national. You're seeing how other things are done throughout the nation, and those best practices and sharing those with us so that we aren't reinventing the wheel. Things that are going on in New England are just as applicable to our region as they are anywhere else. So why not, through your partnership, really share those best practices so that we don't have to wait to help put that together. We can just say, hey, we steal. I don't have a problem with that. Stealing best practices is the best way to make things happen. So y'all have been great at that, giving us that opportunity to be able to meet with individuals that we probably wouldn't have been able to meet with because we're so focused on what we're doing in our region. It just opens up the doors for more opportunities there.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate
Thank you.
you.
I appreciate it.
Take care.
It's awesome.
Thanks.